It is time.
Shark's in order. Our shark.
There's a Sharknado coming.
Dragon sharks?
Are those sharks with laser beams attached to their heads?
Welcome to the
Sharks.
But there's only one man you can call the greatest. Back-to-back Academy Awards. 4 Golden Globes. Yeah. And when it comes to this rap shit, Mr. Tom Hanks. Hanks. Bitch, I'm Tom Hanks. In a league of my own, bitch, I'm Tom Hanks. Hanks. I think I'm Tom Hanks.
Hey, all my real sharks, what's going on? You voted for it, and we're going to be discussing the man who truly runs in a league of his own, Tom Hanks. That's right, we're going to go through all his movies. Most of them are going to get mentioned, some of them won't, but we're going to try to get to them all. But for the most part, we're going to stay true to his movies and not his shows. So we'll also give mentions to his voice acting careers, too. So let's get started. Tom Hanks. I mean, what can be said about Tom Hanks? He's been in some of the most greatest movies of all time, and when I truly say that, I mean, he really is up there with the greatest actor of all time.
This side of cinema we have ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, his movies alone, all of them, every one of them holds some, like, fundamental foundation in cinema history, all of them. So we're going to go ahead and kick it off with his first movie, which is Splash, 1984. What'd you guys think of Splash?
I thought it was okay. It wasn't anything super great. I mean, it's good. I mean, Tom Hanks is in it. It was good for him, right? I mean, it was a good starting role for him. Nothing really that too terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one of the interesting things about Splash is the reason Tom Hanks even got this role was because Chevy Chase actually turned down the original one.
Yes, which is weird. I mean, you know, giving light to an actor that they kind of, that's how it usually happens in cinema. You know, some guy turns it down, they go with the next guy, and he did good. I mean, he did good enough to get, you know,
good
looks.
It's a good movie. It's a cute little, classic. It's about a guy who basically is saved by a mermaid, right? Yeah. You know, falls in love with the mermaid. You guys get the picture.
Classic, like 80s.
It's a classic movie.
Yeah,
it's
classic
good.
stuff.
I think Splash is all right.
It was all right.
I mean, it did pretty well for when it came out as well, which is why they continued to cast Tom Hanks and other things. And then he went and did the Bachelor Party, 1984.
Yeah, that one that's funny. That was where he started to really show that, oh man, this guy's funny. Like, I think that was a really, really good one for him.
Doesn't really get too much traffic.
I think it gets as much as Splash did. I mean, it was around there. Not. He wasn't still like known. But they were just like, okay, this was funny. I think he was getting traction at that point. It's a really good, if you like a National Lampoon, like old school vacation movie, it's got that kind of feel, and he did well.
So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and skip past a couple of these, such as Volunteers, The Money Pit, Nothing in Common, unless you guys.
Burbs.
No, what are you talking about? No, whoa, hold on. Yeah, first we got to get through Big, 1988.
What do you guys think of that one?
Big is a cornerstone of cinema history, man. I mean, a lot of people who don't even like Tom Hanks know he's in that movie.
They know that one.
They know that movie.
Great. They've done this movie a lot of times.
Big is a good movie. I mean, I think for what it is, it's good.
I think it was great. I think it was, again, it was that type of down-to-earth, fun home.
It was like Jack.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. Just that warm-hearting like feeling, and I loved it. It was a good film.
Well, I mean, one scene that everybody absolutely loves is the scene where he's in the toy store and he starts playing with the piano, and the manager of the toy store comes and starts helping him play it.
Yeah, it's an iconic scene. He started getting traction as being like one of the Hollywood beloved, just because of the good guy kind of persona of what Tom Hanks has.
Yeah, but Big also kind of transcended him though into really super stuff. I mean, people were like, look at the potential for this guy in this film. I mean, that's really what I think Big really did to Tom Hanks' career. I mean, it's kind of funny as the title itself, Big. It really did make Tom Hanks big.
Yeah, true.
And then he moved on to do what some people consider as one of his best movies, which is The Burbs, 1989. I personally think it's okay. I mean, I think it's funny.
Well, I like it. I mean, it's funny. I mean, it kind of shows how a man who has to take some time away from work, trying to de-stress from everything, only to find out his new neighbors could seriously be serial killers.
Yeah, they're part of they're part of satanic cult.
Yeah.
Whoa, hold on. Now I said the Burbs, right? And you stopped me there, Billy. Why? Why would you stop me? Do you like this movie more than you're saying? Because the Burbs was just, to me, to be honest with you, it's good, but Tom Hanks has already kind of established himself. Do you think it was better than what it was?
Well,
better than Big?
From that time period, nothing was big as Big. But Burbs, I mean, it had a fantastic star power in that movie.
I think it actually kind of has a little bit of a following. I mean, I personally don't rank this as one of the best Tom Hanks films, but it's definitely considered. It's up there.
Cult classic.
Yeah, a lot of people like this movie.
That's cool.
A lot of people do like it. Here's one that I absolutely love that I'm happy we're getting to is Turner and Hooch, man.
Yeah.
1989 as well. This movie, I think, really helped propel Tom Hanks because he could do anything after this. I mean, he played a cop role. He played a Family Guy kind of role, you know.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. Guy, you know, typical guy meets dog. Guy and dog help each other out, you know, to achieve their overall goal, which is, you know, him to solve the case, dog to figure out who killed his master.
Yeah.
But it was just good. It was funny. It was a really good, funny. I wouldn't say it's. I was just gonna say it's not lighthearted either because it is sad. In fact, I mean, it does have a touch of darkness actually to it, which makes it kind of. That's why I wouldn't put it really that high on a ranking. I mean, I would personally give this movie like a 6.5. But if it just because it's just, you know. I don't want to say go so far as to say a rubber stamped, you know, man and dog type movie or a kid and dog type movie, but it's just really sad.
It is. And,
I mean, it's sad.
It's kind of funny you say 6.5 because IMDb gives it a 6.1.
Interesting.
I don't know though. I mean, you got to look past those type of scores because again, this is for better part of the movie. Tom Hanks acting with an actual physical dog rather than a person. And making that dog feel like a person.
Yeah, no, that's true. But, you know, it's an animal, though. That's no different from, like, other people have done it, though. I mean, you know, like, there's Old Yeller.
Yeah, Lassie. True, true, but this is another type of, like,
it is.
comedy.
It's the cop and dog movie, that has been mimicked now over time and time again in pop culture. So, you know, if you ever see that kind of joke of the dog and the cop, that's usually from Turner and Hooch.
So transcending that type of stereotypes in movies, right? Kind of bringing it to the threshold of the cinema, what it is today. That's why I felt like it was pretty good.
I like Turner and Hooch. I don't think there's I enjoy it quite a bit. Okay, so let's move on to his next movie, Joe versus the Volcano. This one actually too has a cult following, surprisingly enough. Not my biggest. Not my favorite Tom Hanks film, but it's interesting.
Man, yeah. Why so though? Was there one like particular about it? Was it just overall?
It's just kind of. It's just weird. It's just kind of a weird movie, you know. I mean, about a guy who finds out he's dying, he's gonna throw himself in a volcano. So it's like, okay.
Well, I mean, the whole premise is he supposedly has cancer.
Yeah.
And goes off to save this island from destruction. I mean, this was the very first movie he ever did with Meg Ryan, which led to their whole entire relationship in film or cinematography. I mean, I love Joe versus the Volcano. The whole story's great. And the Islanders drinking Crush orange soda was probably the funniest thing ever.
I think it showed his acting chops, dude, because, like, again, the premise wasn't good. You know what I mean? On paper, it sounds stupid.
Yeah.
But again,
terribly.
It's like, I think, you know, Tom Hanks' star power started to really transcend.
It's really funny to say that because, you know, he, you could say some of his earlier works are cult classics because, you know, the next one, too, coming up is Bonfire of the Vanities. A lot of people like this movie, too. Again, you know, it's going to sound funny, not my favorite Tom Hanks film, but it's decent. I mean...
Good for what it was, yeah. Another 1990 film, so we're kind of heading into that next era.
Yep, 1990.
Yeah. So I think so. I think he was just trying to propel his career and what movies were kind of being in the 90s and trying to find that kind of thing.
This is Bonfire of the Vanities, I think, is almost a prelude to Sleepless in Seattle.
Definitely.
For him,
I can see that. Great point.
The League of Their Own, 1992, guys. What do you guys love that movie or what? Who doesn't like that movie?
I mean, that's a baseball movie of Hall of Fame stature.
That's very true.
Definitely goes up there with Rookie of the Year.
Oh, yes.
Dare I say Angels in the Outfield?
Oh my God, Sandlot.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't know is that Tom Hanks had to gain about 30 pounds just to play the role of the manager.
To mimic how the manager looked like at the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It was a good film.
It is another, a good movie.
And then we're getting into the classic lines.
Yes,
there's no crying in baseball. Like you're getting like this is when Tom Hanks is acting like Tom Hanks.
Yeah, this is when he was getting. People were like, "Hey, you know that guy Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
He can sell a movie, man. Let me tell you." And then that led him to do 1993 Sleepless in Seattle, which can arguably be one of the greatest romantic films ever done.
If not the greatest, maybe.
People will argue it's one of the best romantic films of all time.
It's good.
Yep.
His second Meg Ryan movie too.
Yeah, another one with Meg Ryan. Yep.
A romantic comedy.
Another one. but what do you guys think about Sleepless in Seattle? I mean, what do you guys think about the cinematography, the story of it? I mean, the pace of it. I think it's good. I think it's a good film. I mean, personally, again, I don't know why. I'm not the biggest fan of the movie, but I respect it for how it is.
The way it is.
Yeah, how good it is.
You know why? I think it's because Tom Hanks is one of those actors that can sell simple in films very well, you believe it.
Yeah.
He's a man that has peril in the movie, and he moves to this town. You believe it, like you know what I mean. He's a character. He's living that character, and again, at this type of moment, he's already established as an actor in 1992.
Yeah.
You believe him and you feel for him, and that's the signs of a great actor, not just a good actor, but when you feel with the actor, that's a great actor.
Here's where we're going to get in the meat and potatoes of the legacy of Tom Hanks, which is his 1993 Oscar-winning film, Philadelphia. I mean, what can you guys say about Philadelphia? Great movie. I actually watched this film in school. They showed this movie to us in school. I absolutely think it is a shocking film.
I cried.
Right?
It is very, very moving, very touching. His performance, Denzel's performance, just amazing.
They played well off each other.
Yes, I mean it is a great movie. One of the greatest scenes too, when Tom Hanks is telling him about the opera.
Yeah.
Who that he's listening to.
One of the greatest.
I think Philadelphia is a great, great movie. I mean, definitely up there in the status of where it needs to be. Definitely deserved the Oscar that he won for it. I mean, this movie almost can be perceived as a movie that needs to be seen again today, because it's an issue that is very going on today. It's actually kind of aged with time.
Yeah. Well, timeless classic is what you would say. At the time, it was relevant.
But I mean, like, in the era of cinema and where we're at in society right now, Philadelphia can still be put up there with the movie of, you kind of need to see that movie to get some lessons here and some of the civility we should have in society.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially towards the, LGBTQ community and everything.
Definitely watch Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia is definitely a must-watch film. And now here's the film that I am probably most passionate about in Tom Hanks' career, Forrest Gump. Arguably a historical piece. In fact, when Tom Hanks was making this movie, he signed on after reading the script for 5 minutes, said he would not do it, though, unless the movie was historically accurate.
Right.
And that's kind of a touch of Tom Hanks that's going to perceive the rest of his career after that too, from when he produces actually into Band of Brothers, The Pacific, and everything like that. I mean, this movie has everything. It has a great story. It has a great cast. It has some good, memorable one-liners. Like box of chocolates. Are you stupid or something? Stupid is, stupid does. Some of the best, some of the best scenes, man, you've ever seen in cinema. I mean, Tom Hanks nails this movie like you wouldn't believe. I mean, I would put this movie up there with top 5 greatest movies of all time.
Yes.
Forrest Gump is up there, man. I mean, Forrest Gump is great. I'm going to kind of go off a little bit here. What's interesting about Forrest Gump, and it took me a long time to think about it, was would this film be made today? And I don't think it would. I don't think this film...
Can you even do it today?
I don't think this film would be made today, just for the simple fact people would get so up in arms about a movie about a mentally challenged guy that essentially changed history, and he doesn't even know it. And it's almost like you're making fun of this idea that this guy that doesn't even know he changed the world, because that was the time we were living in the 1990s, where there was this, prior to pre 9/11, was this whole idea of like what can we conquer? What can we face more in human achievement? You know, there was the disaster films, and there were the whole how far can we go as a person, you know, kind of films, right. Which is what Forrest Gump was. I mean, it was a movie that was like, you know, you can accomplish anything, no matter what it is, no matter who you are, your disability, whatever. You can conquer anything as long as you put yourself to it and believe. I mean, that's what Forrest Gump really is. I mean, it's a great movie. It has some of the most brilliant scenes I've ever seen. Some of my most favorite in movie history. I absolutely love Forrest Gump, and I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and go with it.
No, you said everything. There's nothing to go about it. The thing about this movie is what you said about a mentally challenged person, basically going through these memorable historical pieces in time. He basically is unwillingly and unknowingly, I should say, preaching these values, worldviews that
things about God,
God, but kind of not, again, like going through a mentally challenged person. So the person isn't getting that angry. You're not going to get upset about, you know, him.
Because he doesn't understand.
He doesn't understand it.
So it's almost like you are with him in all this. Yes, exactly.
He came up with the phrase, shit happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, are you going to get mad about that?
No.
Like, you know, there's just certain things that you're just not going to get upset about. Same thing with him going in and rescuing the people from Vietnam and not using a gun, you know? So that it's like those simple, like, type of things, like those protests in those films are just, it makes it great. There's nothing else I could say.
Yeah, Forrest Gump, you know, is going to be a movie. We're going to talk that, I hate to say this, God forbid, we'll be talking about when Tom Hanks is gone. When we're all turned to ash, Forrest Gump will be talked about forever.
Oh my gosh, yes.
All right, and then he actually went on to the moon. And his next classic, and indeed, it is another great historical piece. And, you know, before we talk more about it, we just got to give it the title, which is Apollo 13. 1995. This film, let me tell you how amazing this film is. All the zero gravity scenes that you see in it, it was actually filmed. They actually jumped in one of those sky planes and went up and down in the atmosphere and actually filmed all those scenes in zero gravity.
Yeah. How awesome is that?
That is amazing. You know, to talk about Apollo 13, it's really, really hard because the only thing you can really, really pick at it is how historically accurate is it. And it is a pretty historically accurate film. Yeah. I mean, the only thing that is not really accurate in the film, which is true, is, and Tom Hanks added this to the moment of Apollo 13, is the dramatization of Houston, do we have a problem?
Yes.
They actually upped the drama of the astronauts in the Apollo 13 mission to add to the movie. Now, that's there's nothing wrong with that. They had to, because if you ever actually listen to the actual audio of Apollo 13, they're pretty calm.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really think they're in any kind of imminent danger. Yeah. Apollo 13, though, is a great film. Should be watched. It's a film that can be watched over and over in classrooms, you know, on the History Channel. Yeah. I mean, it is a true good historical piece. It is one of the great historical pieces of the decade.
Trifecta of actors.
Trifecta. Bill Paxton won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in this movie. I mean, God. Game over, man. Game over. Yeah. But Bill Paxton, man, God, great film, great cast. Kevin Bacon was awesome in it. Couldn't ask more from Apollo 13. It's amazing he didn't win an award for that, too.
The film put Ron Howard on the map. That's how good it did. This movie was so incredible. Another film that we all, at least for me, had to watch in class.
Yeah.
And it was one of those films, too, where you think it's going to be boring or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then it turns out to be like, oh, my Lord.
Right on the edge of your seat.
Crazy. Like, that's the first type of instance of where you, like, that's what happens when you go to space. You could just, like, listen to a radio and he's spinning it. Like, it works like that. Oh, my God. Can you actually go around the moon? And it freezes? Like, there's just certain things that, you know, like,
but the practical effects of that movie.
That's like, it really gives you the sense of, like, space is not only cool, but space is scary as hell.
Not just that, but movie magic, man.
Oh,
I mean, God, now you have everything in CGI. You know, everything is so cheaply made with computers nowadays. I mean, they were up in a skyjet going up and down the atmosphere to film this movie.
Yeah. Rob, the tension, coming back to Earth, crashing.
Incredible.
Is insane. Great movie. Fantastic movie. One of the greatest space movies of just a space movie of all time. So it's in the top 3.
That's another movie he played a captain in, by the way. He's played a captain 4 times in all his movies. Yes. So let's go ahead and move on here. We're going to have to mention this film, and it is not a movie. It is a voice acting role, but we have to mention it because it is a cornerstone of cinema history, which is Toy Story. Yes. 1995's Toy Story. God, I mean, there's not much to say about Toy Story besides it is not only one of the greatest films of all time, it is the first computer-based animated film. I mean,
of all time.
Yes. I mean, it was the first, and not only that, but it was great. I mean, it really it put the faith in computer animation. For a while, people were we don't need to go away from drawings. You know, they were a lot of people were very sympathetic about artists back then. But when Toy Story came out, they were like, you know what? We don't need to draw on paper anymore. We can just do this on computer.
Yeah.
Because it actually put the confidence in computer animation and helped establish Pixar.
Oh, of course.
Also helped establish Disney, who was one of those naysayers about not going away from hand-drawn art. And this movie alone pitched them to actually buy Pixar. This was the only Pixar film that was just Pixar, not Disney Pixar, but just Pixar alone. And, everything that you know as Pixar, Disney now came from the roots of Toy Story.
Lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you look at the cast and just see the star-studded power they have behind this. Tim Allen, Eddie Potts, Don Rickles.
Jim Varney,
the late, great Jim Varney.
Yeah.
He played Slinky.
Ernest.
Yeah,
just fantastic. But led by Tom Hanks again, just an insane role. Also, another movie that came out in 1995. So you have 2 blockbuster films on different perspectives of cinema, hitting the charts equally. So I mean, he's killing it within just not even halfway through the 90s.
First commercial break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys, and we're doing our Tom Hanks episode. And the next Tom Hanks movie we're going to get into is 1998's Saving Private Ryan. As we said, with Apollo 13 and with Forrest Gump, I mean, Saving Private Ryan, with the help of Steven Spielberg, is one of the greatest historical pieces ever done. I mean, this movie changed films. It literally changed movies. It was not only a testament to Steven Spielberg, but Tom Hanks, man. I mean, he was surrounded by such brilliant cast members in this movie. I mean, let's just go through them right now. Who was in this movie?
Tom Sizemore, Vin Diesel, you know what I mean? Edward Burns, Matt Damon, obviously, as Private Ryan, Giovanni Ribisi.
Love that guy.
So many. Yes. You had so many. I'm not even like, there's so many.
And Tom Hanks managed to almost outshine them all in a lot of ways.
He did, though.
He did. And what's funny, too, is they were actually, Steven Spielberg almost casted Mel Gibson. Yeah.
Harrison Ford as him.
Yeah. Another captain role.
Yes.
Another captain. But, I mean, Saving Private Ryan is...
what can you say about it?
It's brilliant. The set pieces are great. The, accuracy towards the time is good. I mean, you really have to nitpick at Saving Private Ryan to find things wrong with it in a historical perspective. I mean, the movie itself is very, very good. There's so many subtle details that Steven Spielberg added to that movie. Like, for example, one of the most brilliant scenes that no one even knows is the part in the first 20 minutes of the film when those 2 German soldiers are surrendering and the American officers are going, what? I can't hear you. And they shoot him anyway, and Tom Hanks is watching it. What they're actually saying is, we're not actually Germans. They're part of the labor unit. They're forced to do work. But you wouldn't know that. And what's crazy is they're not even speaking German. They're actually speaking Hungarian in that part right there. Right. I mean,
also accurate.
Very, very, very accurate film.
You can nitpick about the historical aspect.
But Saving Private Ryan as a story itself is great. Yes. I mean, some people will say, "Oh, it's not a historical film," but the part about it is historical. The idea of this whole idea that you can have so many family members, and if they all die, you have to be brought home. That's true. That's a real thing. That actually happened to 4 brothers that were on a boat. I believe it was the Battle of Guadalcanal, in which they all died. So they had to make that rule to where, you can't serve. Everyone has to serve in different portions of the military.
But they cannot kill off your entire
line. Yeah,
it has to be sent back. The only thing I can really nitpick about this film that I don't really have a problem with, it's just very Hollywood, is when he's shooting at the tank at the end and the airstrike comes in and just...
Oh, it doesn't bother me.
That's just very Hollywood.
Nitpicking.
Other than that, that's...
I'll tell you the real nitpick that you can pick at this part. If anyone wants to know, or go check us, what is the historical inaccuracy of this movie, I can tell you. The historical inaccuracy of this movie is the part on D-Day when they're rolling them to the beach. Mm-hmm. The guys that are in the boats that are going 30 seconds, they're actually supposed to be French. Yeah. That's the only thing.
But again,
there's so many. Audience. Yeah, that's for you to decide, though, for you to research.
But here's another thing about how crazy accurate and jaw dropping for cinema. How brutal and the gore, guys.
For Saving Private Ryan.
Here, a lot of people thought it
almost went over the top. Yeah. I mean, you got people's guts hanging out on the beach and everything. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
People get their brains
screaming for his mother.
Dude, there's so much scarier than some of the horror films that had came out around that era.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I once showed this movie to my grandfather, and he said he was actually on Omaha Beach, and he was like, "Yeah, that's pretty close." So, it was a movie that struck to even the hearts of veterans. So, Saving Private Ryan not only changed films, it, made people have flashbacks, but it basically changed movies. It made a standard for war films.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Do you think it also gave people kind of a newfound glory pre 9/11 to respect the military? Because there wasn't really
it respected the great what is known as the greatest generation. Yeah, and what they had to fight for. I mean, that's what Saving Private Ryan really is. I mean, I think if you want to say something along the lines of Saving Private Ryan is a testament to all World War II, like the history of World War II, I would actually agree with you. I think that's a good, accurate thing to say. I mean, it's a really good done movie. I mean, it's even better than The Longest Day, which was I still think is really a great movie, a great World War II piece, but it just trumps them all. When Trumpets Fade. I mean, I can't even. So many World War II movies that have came before it that it just it set the standard, man. It set a new standard for war films.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Another cornerstone movie for Tom Hanks was 1998's You Got Mail, where he was Joe Fox, the bookstore entrepreneur. Oh, you may hack at this movie, but I actually love You Got Mail. What? Not only is You Got Mail a great love story, but it was the first movie that showed email.
Yes!
And the internet, and the whole idea of chat rooms, and the whole idea of how
accurate was that?
I mean, it was pretty accurate.
Was damn accurate.
It was pretty accurate. The whole You Got Mail, and how everyone was like, yes, I get so excited for the whole You Got. I mean, that movie, cornerstone AOL as a company.
Right, yeah.
I mean, we may, see them as an obscure company now, as a small company, not as large as they were, but back then, they were owning the internet. They were the web browser, and You've Got Mail captured that exactly how everyone was doing it back then. That whole new thing when chatting with people you didn't know back and forth, almost like a pen pal.
Yeah.
Meeting people online. I mean, come on. You Got Mail is it's a movie ahead of its time.
Yeah, you can watch it now.
You can, yes.
It's still relevant today.
I mean, if you get rid of the browser, aspect of it, the AOL. But no, when you say still relevant today, Steve, you're absolutely right, because the main story is about a small-time book owner and Joe Fox, who's played by Tom Hanks, is trying to muscle her out with his big corporate business, which is basically like a Barnes and Nobles type of store. And it's a good story. It's good because at the same time they're enemies. They hate each other so much, but yet they're chat room friends. Spoiler, sorry guys, but they're chat room friends, and they basically end up falling in love. They were already in love, actually, but then they just had to reveal who each other was, and it turns out they were each other's mortal enemies. Tom Hanks found that out first, then kind of like plays on it, yeah. But it was it's a great romantic piece. I mean, one of the best.
Again, sending it into the next
one
age,
of the best.
1998, so you're right around the corner of the 2000 era.
And he did, right around the corner there, too. In 1999, he did Toy Story 2, again, with the Toy Story franchise. But
solid bookends.
Solid sequel.
Yes, it was.
Solid sequel. But let's move into Stephen King's book that was turned into a movie, 1999's The Green Mile. Many people don't know that's a Stephen King film. But God, Tom Hanks again, surrounded by a brilliant cast of actors and people in it. I mean, you had like David Morse, Bonnie Hunt. I mean, God, Michael Clark.
Yes.
Michael Clark. Rest in peace, man.
Yeah.
James Crown.
My God, man. See, this is
Sam Rockwell.
Yes, Sam Rockwell. Oh my gosh.
This is what I mean. This man can work with anybody. He can do solo. He can work with another legendary actor and just give a performance that is it's electric. How can you forget about Green Mile? That performance by both of those actors.
Yeah, that movie makes grown men cry.
Yeah, right. Yes. Yeah.
It's a good movie. There's not a lot to be said about The Green Mile. Again, we would be nitpicking at it if we were trying to really find things wrong with The Green Mile. I mean, the whole movie, from the first act to the third act is just good. I mean, everybody reaches their arc. It's sad, but it's just a really, really good movie. It's another must-see film. I mean, it's up there, and like we keep saying, Tom Hanks is just... He not only does he know how to choose a role, he knows how to act them too. So whatever you want to contribute that to, I mean, Tom Hanks just nails it, and he really, really nailed it at the turn of the millennium when he did 2000's Castaway. Let me tell you something. Castaway is a great film.
Yes, it is.
It's just a really good movie. I think Castaway is honestly Tom Hanks' best movie. And I know I said that about Forrest Gump, but it is his best movie, and I'm going to tell you why it's his best movie. The man turned a volleyball into a character you cared about.
Right.
You laugh at that. You laugh. But at the time, you laugh, but at the time you were screaming Wilson right along with him. Because that was sad. That was legitimately sad. Not only that, the film in itself, Tom Hanks has hardly any dialogue. You have to go off his emotions. You have to go off his visual expressions.
Yeah.
You have to feel for him with no dialogue whatsoever. And it wasn't until a movie like I Am Legend, which kind of tried to do that, same way almost.
But close on that scale.
But, Tom Hanks was just able to do it. And you were there with him, and you felt it with him when he was on that island, and when he got home and you seen the situation, you felt for him. You felt for that man, and he put it. It was a story that we all can kind of relate to. That story of oh man, you don't really know what you lost till it's gone. But not in the sense of someone leaving you. The sense of what if you were basically taken out of the picture for 3 years of your life, and you came back and everything was changed. I mean, Castaway was just brilliant. I mean, it is such a good film. Don't know why he didn't win another Oscar for it.
I was about to say he should have won an Oscar for that.
His
solo acting by its own was Oscar worthy.
There's a scene in that movie too that I always like to tell people about that many people don't know about. It's the scene where Tom Hanks is actually sitting on his raft after he just recently lost Wilson, and he lets his oars drift off into the water. Many people don't know this. That's actually just Tom Hanks himself. During the filming of Castaway, they had to travel out to an island really far out. I mean, I believe it was almost like a 3 to 6 hour boat ride out there. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that one. But basically, when he was sitting on the water, they just left the camera rolling. And Tom Hanks is still in his role all the time. He just let the oars drift off. And that is actually real-time moment of Tom Hanks actually just being not only in the role, just being himself. Just as himself. Not even ad-libbing, unknowingly ad-libbing.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's
just being natural.
Same thing with the campfire scene. Also, another one of the ad-libs where I made fire.
Oh, that is great.
I made fire. That's actually ad-lib. He was just was also Tom Hanks just being himself. He was really just kind of supposed to scream and just be happy, and they cut away. But the whole him beating on his chest like he's a caveman.
No, that's amazing. Yeah,
oh, that's amazing. Yeah,
that is
or cinematography, just perfection right there. That's used in them talking about movies. I've seen so much in trailers too.
God, just all of it. Him having just simple things. Him having a toothache. He had it in the beginning of the film. It was something that you knew he had. He gets on the plane, crashes. It's still a problem. How is he going to fix this problem? He looks at it. He sees it. He takes his skate, knocks a tooth out. That's something that's you can't even describe that. It's something you just need to visually see in film.
I think Castaway is just brilliant.
I mean, he even lost 55 pounds in 4 months.
Yes, he did.
In the whole filming, he did not eat that much. He counted down, or he had a set limit of calories that he could have a day. Yeah. So he would lose weight every single time.
He said he was starving himself, literally starving himself just to get to that weight. And then just for a couple of scenes that he had. There's only a couple of scenes in the movie that he had for production, but to lose 55 pounds, that's over half your weight.
Makes you wonder, why did Revnik get it then? Anyway, that might be a bonus. So, I mean, that's Castaway, guys. I mean, well, we don't have much else to say. Go watch it if you've never seen it. We actually just wanted to mention, too, he also helped produce one of the greatest TV miniseries of all time, which is Band of Brothers.
Right.
God. Again, from his working with Steven Spielberg on Saving Private Ryan, him and Steven, such huge critics of historical accuracy, brought us one of the great series of all time in Band of Brothers. One of the greatest. Well, and Pacific.
Yeah, well,
we gotta move on because we still got a lot to go through. After he got off the island, he decided to become a mob guy in Road to Perdition 2002, which arguably, it's good.
Oh,
it's up there with one of the better mob movies.
It's great.
Yeah, it's up there with one of the better movies. I wouldn't put it up there with Goodfellas or Casino, but I would put it up there around the 5s or 6s. I thought Road to Perdition was good. I mean,
wow, really?
Yeah, really. I mean, I put it up there high, but I don't put it up there that high.
Oh my goodness!
No, I love Perdition. I love the whole story behind it, and him trying to protect his son.
Yeah, it's good.
It's fantastic.
Don't get me wrong, it's good, but I just I felt like it was a little bit too nuanced, a little slow.
I think it needed to be that slow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the era of the Depression, you're not going to get guys running around, shooting each other and go, hey, hey. This was exactly what it needed to be. Where people were dreary, the film was slow and sluggish, just how it needed to be, fleshing out characters that Tom Hanks, again, to all the great actors that were in this film, okay, Daniel Craig, Jude Law, all the other ones, great, right? Stanley Tucci, also great, but Tom Hanks, again, as Michael Sullivan, was fantastic. This is one of his underrated, and I say this.
I will give you that.
Underrated,
yes, it is.
Film. A lot of people skip this film. Do not do that. If you're a fan of Tom Hanks, you need to go watch this film.
Go see this film.
Fantastic for cinema.
So, once he left the mob scene, he did a very, very good movie that I think should have won him an award, along with the co-star he was with, which was none other than Leonardo DiCaprio himself, was 2002's Catch Me If You Can. Based on a true story. Great movie.
Right?
My God, I mean, the story is fantastic. Absolutely funny. I mean, it is done over the top for dramatic purposes, but Leo is good. Tom Hanks is good. I mean, for those people who don't know it, Leonardo DiCaprio is basically one of the world's greatest con men. Yeah. And he's been conning his way through life all this time, and basically it's catching up with him. And the FBI agent played by Tom Hanks is actually on his trail, and it's just so funny to watch Leonardo DiCaprio break out of these situations in which Tom Hanks thinks he has him. Yeah,
so easily.
It reminded me a lot of a later movie, which would be I Love You, Philip Morris.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. It's kind of like that. One of those kind of the criminal he uses his wit to get out of things, not more than just the shoot 'em up type movies. But man, good movie. Tom Hanks brilliant, Leo brilliant, acting, cast, everything good. Why Catch Me If You Can didn't do better? We'll never know. We'll never know.
It has an 8.1 on IMDb and 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Great.
I mean, reviews for it are like up there. I just like how you said. I don't understand how this didn't win.
Let's move on to our next one, which I know one of our co-hosts has a really good opinion about this movie. 2004's The Lady Killers. I know you love this movie, Steve, so take it away.
Yeah, so The Lady Killer, if you guys don't know, Tom Hanks obviously is established at this time. Why do I say this?
Tom
Hanks already established at this time. I don't know if you guys, know too much about the New Orleans centric around the time. It was kind of still booming because this took place kind of in the 1940s. So the premise is he's a man who's a con artist who wants to get to rob a bank, but he wants to do it silently, right? So he gets a cast of these misfits that want to dig a hole underneath this woman's house that has a tunnel to get to the bank. And what makes this film so good is the different type of styles that Tom Hanks goes through. So we've seen Tom Hanks go through films like Apollo 13, Catch Me If You Can, Castaway, Philadelphia, all these heart-wrenching films. But this is the one where he does a character that was very, very foreign to him. He even said himself that he was not confident in doing this role just because it's a very southern drawl. It's not like a Forrest Gump type of thing. It's a lot more difficult than that. It was just great. You had Marlon Wayans. You had a bunch of people that were kind of just misfits people in it. You know what I mean? Tyson Ma, like you had Ryan Hurst.
I love Ryan Hurst.
Yeah, Ryan Hurst. J.K. Simmons. You had Marlon Wayans. Like I said, all these people that kind of were just misfits and as actors. And Tom Hanks, yet again, being the captain, metaphorically, as the leading role, kind of corralling them and making this kind of, it's a comedy first, but it actually becomes serious. And then you care.
It's a dramedy.
It's a dramedy. And it's good. It's a very, very good one. It's an underrated one for the time in 2004. I think a lot of people just pass it by because they're like, oh, whatever. It's not a great, Castaway that I don't want to see.
It's an underrated Tom Hanks film.
It's an underrated film in general, but underrated Tom Hanks.
And, I think we're starting to get into the part of Tom Hanks' career where things started to not necessarily go downhill, but started to fly a little more under the radar. Slow down would be a good word for it. The Terminal, 2004.
I love The Terminal.
I actually do like this movie a lot, too. He plays Victor Novinsky, a Eastern European, and he's on his way back to his country, which just breaks out in war. And he's stuck in the airport terminal, and he can't get home. And it's kind of it's a really good movie. It's interesting.
Kind of weird.
It's a little weird, but he sleeps in the airport. He has no money. He has nothing. He has to figure out how to live, basically. So one of the things he does is he learns like how the card exchanger, when you bring the carts back, it gives you 25 cents. So he would like push people's carts in there to try to get money to go to McDonald's and stuff like that. Yeah. And
Catherine Zeta-Jones is in it too.
Who's the villain though? Who's the main guy?
Stanley Tucci. Stanley Tucci played the
Frank Dixon. I believe.
Yeah,
is that his name? Frank Dixon.
Frank Dixon. He played.
Yeah, and Frank Dixon. The whole movie is basically trying to kick him out of the terminal, trying to get him out of there. It's a good film. It's actually a good, lighthearted comedy. I mean, I do know Tom Hanks took a lot of flack for this movie when it came out because people didn't like the way he was portraying the Russian guy, so to speak. But I was like, oh well. Do I get mad at English guys when they play Romans? Basically, who are supposed to be Italians? No.
Yeah, English guys paying every.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So no. So let's move into the next movie he did. 2004's Polar Express, which is, almost like a rotoscope version of of a movie with computers. Basically, it's Tom Hanks, but in animated form.
Yeah.
I mean, The Polar Express is it's a timeless film now.
It is.
I mean, I don't know personally. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm just not. I think it's kind of
It's okay, but not
too old timey ish, too old traditionalist, traditionish. I don't know.
It's off of the book.
Too old school. I don't know. I'm just not the biggest fan of The Polar Express.
Yeah, I think it was just a book that just didn't translate well to film, and they kind of try to push the star power of Tom Hanks. It's not bad. It's not. We're not saying it's horrible. It's just not one of his greatest. This is when Tom Hanks is, 2004, 2003 wasn't really.
Well, I mean, he played like the big parts. He played like the ticket taker, the conductor.
The conductor.
He played Santa Claus, of course.
He's good.
I mean,
it's good, but it's Tom Hanks is everything.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I mean, how this movie didn't play off so well is because how they had him so much into the movie. I mean, if he were to play like either the conductor or Santa Claus, I think this movie could have done even better, personally. But I mean, like how we were saying, it's okay. It's not great.
So here's a movie that actually was a very interesting mark on Tom Hanks' career. The Da Vinci Code, 2006. So once he came out of that little, I wouldn't say slump, just a little bit more of under the radar type years there, he did The Da Vinci Code. Arguably a very controversial film, depending on what side of the aisle you're on. The Da Vinci Code, I mean, what can we say? I personally think it's good. It's based off a Dan Brown novel, which is complete BS, so don't buy too much into it. It's a good film. I mean, it's a good,
Ron Howard film again.
It's like National Treasure. Just a little bit more, National Treasure is like the kiddie version of Da Vinci Code, but
no, I would agree with you there.
Yeah, and Da Vinci Code's good. I enjoy it.
I think don't look too much into it. You'll have fun.
Yeah.
And again, it's another solid film.
It's a good, solid film by Tom Hanks. I mean, I'm not trashing Tom Hanks' acting in this movie at all. I'm just saying the plot and overall story of the movie is just
questionable.
It's questionable. But overall, a great Tom Hanks movie. I mean, he delivered in this movie. I mean, he couldn't play a better. They couldn't have picked a better Robert Langdon to be anybody, besides Tom Hanks. I mean, Tom Hanks was just good. Good action. It was one of Tom Hanks's more, I would say, fast-paced action movies too. It really delivered on it too. I mean, compared to all his other movies, Da Vinci Code was a little bit more faster pacing. I mean, he had to do a lot of running. And, more running than he had doing Catch Me If You Can, which is funny because it's called Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah. Do you think this is as close as Tom Hanks has ever came to like an action film a little bit? Because
no, Saving Private Ryan. I mean, Saving Private Ryan is his action film.
He's doing some shooting and some jogging.
Yeah.
This one, he, like you said, he's
sprinting the whole time.
Guys.
I mean, Saving Private Ryan is action-packed, but don't get me wrong, this would probably be his next biggest action-packed film.
Even the cast in this is star-studded. You got Paul Bettany, Ian McCain, John Reno, Alfred Medina. I mean, gosh, a lot of like other French actors are in this movie.
And the movie did well.
I mean, the movie did so well. It earned $758.2 million.
That is a great deal of money right there.
Right.
And that's banking on it. All right, so the next movie he did, which we actually spoke about in episode 8 of CIA in Hollywood, 2007, Charlie Wilson's War, in which he played Charlie Wilson. I want to say this is actually one of the first times I'll say I think over all the movies we've talked about where Tom Hanks played kind of a bad guy in a sense. I mean, you're going to say, what do you mean? I mean, he was a politician. Exactly. He was a pretty bad, backhanded, terrible, sleazy politician, and that's who Charlie Wilson was. Overall, Tom Hanks delivers this movie. I mean, I have nothing really to say about Charlie Wilson's War besides it is a decent film. Tom Hanks carries it perfectly. I've seen the actual real Charlie Wilson. I think Tom Hanks actually gives him a little bit more justice than he deserves.
Than the guy.
So, kudos for Tom Hanks on that one. If you've never seen Charlie Wilson's War, interesting movie. Don't particularly recommend it. I mean, it's not like a must-see type film, but it's very, it's interesting.
Well, if you're a fan of Tom Hanks, you should see it. Even the late, great Philip Seymour Hoffman's in this
That
film.
is true.
I mean, they played really well off each other.
That is true. Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman, good actor. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Past the Da Vinci Codes and past the Wilson Wars, he did The Great Buck Howard, 2008.
yeah.
Now, this is where things started to get a little bit choppy with Tom. What do you guys think about The Great Buck Howard, man? I seen part of it, and I'll leave it at that.
This is what I can say about this film, and this is, and I'm going to defend Tom Hanks on this. Like the Da Vinci Code, sort of, this is the era, like most actors, they start to transition to make other stars like themselves. So he's in it, but it's sort of like it's not all about Tom Hanks this time around, or his star power, or his stature. He's just propelling the film. So the film, it's not on him. If a film is bad, you know, if a film is just poorly written, it's just poorly written.
This was actually the first movie he ever did with his son, Colin Hanks.
That's right.
Too. I mean, just to have a father and son acting duo in the same movie, I mean, you rarely saw that.
Yeah. Hence the whole giving it, kind of not passing the torch, but again, trying to train the new generation, sort of in the eyes like how he was trained.
And, you know, then he moved on to the sequel. Well, it's actually the prequel to Da Vinci Code. And it's funny that you say, you know, Tom Hanks doesn't necessarily pick. It's not his fault if it's a bad movie, because Angels and Demons 2009 wasn't a bad movie. I just think it was badly advertised. I think it was badly... just the PR for it, I think, was bad. Many people didn't know that this was actually the prequel to the Da Vinci Code.
No, a lot of people thought it was the sequel.
They thought it was a sequel, so a lot of people left very confused until you told them, "Oh, yeah, this is a prequel." They're like, "Oh," because, you know, immediately in the movie, he's like, "I've never been to Rome." It's like, wait, you were just in Rome, dude. it's Angels and Demons is okay. I think it's the weakest of the Dan Brown novels when it comes to the plot of the Da Vinci Code, but it has its moments.
I enjoyed it.
It has its moments, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have to get to Larry Crown, 2011. Personally, didn't think it was that bad, but it definitely deserved its criticism. I mean, it was just boring.
Yeah.
It was very, very boring. Very, very dry. Very, very nuance of we've seen it before, the middle-aged guy falling in love with the girl kind of story. That's all I can really say about Larry Crown. I mean, it's
not good.
It's okay.
Yeah, like we said.
You say it's not good, I'd say it's okay.
It's okay, but...
it's one of those movies. This is why I say it's not good. It's not good because Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts are not good together. This is another film that they were in.
Yeah.
Just like...
hardly any chemistry between them.
They don't have any chemistry. Again, it's not... When I say not good, I don't mean terrible. I mean, it wasn't as good up to a Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
He was not up to a standard.
Was good. He's Tom Hanks.
Yeah, he set a bar for himself, and it's just like when you go and you watch other movies with Tom Hanks, it's like you're basically comparing him to himself, and it's like, he didn't deliver in that movie. It was not as good as a Tom Hanks movie, so that's why I would say Larry Crown is, you know, it's okay, but it's not the best. One of the movies I think that he tried to come back on, and I personally thought he did a good job. Many people didn't like it because of the story. Some people found it too difficult to follow. Was 2012's Cloud Atlas. I personally like this movie, but, you know, it gets a bad rap. So a lot of people don't like this movie. They think it's really confusing. All the different roles that Tom Hanks plays. You know, I mean, what would you guys say about Cloud Atlas?
I got a little confused.
I mean, it started confusing me for, like, in the beginning because I didn't know what was going on. But the more I watched it, I could see the differences and where they were going with it. I'm looking, okay, that's why it's going like this. I loved it. I thought Tom Hanks played it perfectly. I mean, he played like a hero, and then he played a villain too. So to me, that kind of said, okay.
I thought it was a good showcase of his acting ability.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with it.
But the story in itself was just kind of bland.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I think it was so weird. He was, again, not a bad performance by Tom Hanks. Maybe it seemed like a showcase for him. You know, it seemed like they were kind of just...
Let me show you my acting chops.
We wanted to see everything you got. We don't really have a story for your acting, but hey, we're gonna make.
There's a bunch of roles that you can do, a bunch of mini stories.
There's a bunch of mini stories.
That's what it really did seem like. But, you know, again, the man does not know how to stop and be down, because then he did 2013's Captain Phillips, which is a phenomenal movie.
His third captain role.
God, that is Captain Phillips is a great movie.
Oh,
I mean, you know,
That's a Tom Hanks film.
true story.
Yep.
Pretty accurate to the T. God, I mean, there's not much to say about Captain Phillips besides it's just a good movie. It's a crazy situation. Never seen it. It's about a captain and his crew gets hijacked by Somali pirates.
Yep.
He lets his crew go. They keep him hostage and basically gets rescued by the U.S. I mean, it's a good, thrilling movie. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's a good, thrilling movie. It's just one of those. It's a good Tom Hanks film.
Yeah, it's a movie that you need
overall.
to see.
It's a good movie you need to see. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and to me, with this movie kind of made him relevant again because he kind of fell off the map with a couple of those movies, like we were saying, like Angels and Demons. He fell off the map with that one, and this was bringing him back into that starlight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree. This is another one. You know why it took him down to a mortal sense in a role because he was not a guy. It's sort of like Castaway, where he is feeble, he's vulnerable, he could be killed at any moment.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen next, and a lot of people are like, "That's what I wanted. That's the Tom Hanks I wanted to see." There he is, and it was great, fantastic role, accurate again, like you said.
And another good one, accurate, fantastic, 2016 Sully.
Oh,
I mean, if you don't know anything about this movie, again, based on a true story, New York airliner, on takeoff, basically loses control. There's an accident with, I believe it's some geese or whatever, and has to land in the Hudson. Has to land, he saves them, but the overall story, that's where the story just begins, because the rest of it is blame. They try to blame the captain for everything that happened, for the damages to the plane. Yeah. Just a great overall film. I mean, another good historical piece done by Tom Hanks.
Acting prowess, definitely showing when he goes to court, and it explains himself. He explains the situation. Go watch that movie just for that scene alone. It's fantastic. If you think, oh, Tom Hanks has lost it, he's not that great, go watch that scene, and you're going to understand why Tom Hanks is great.
Well, I mean, this is even a Clint Eastwood movie. That alone, him directing Tom Hanks, is pure gold and just genius. I love it.
And again, then he kind of fell off again with 2016's Inferno. Basically, I believe this is again the sequel. This is the sequel to Da Vinci Code, right?
Yeah,
the sequel to Da Vinci Code. I just don't think people cared anymore at this point with these movies. Yeah. I think they got a lot out of it with Angels and Demons, and that was it. Because I didn't really care for Inferno.
I didn't watch Inferno just because.
Well, why? Because of Tom Hanks? Or
no, the plot was boring.
No, yeah, exactly.
It was boring. It was really boring.
When I saw the trailer for it and I read the plot, I mean, really, this is what you guys are going for? Okay, pass.
Yeah.
But I think that's what he was thinking. He was also thinking pass because, it was him reprising his role again, but he was kind of not the main character in the film. He was, again, kind of carrying the next torch for the next generation, so I don't really give him the knock on that film.
No, I mean, it even gets to 22% on Rotten Tomatoes. It should show you how bad this movie was.
Not because of him.
No, not because of him, just the whole process.
No, Tom Hanks personally cannot he can't act a bad role. He can only be in a bad movie. So then he did 2017's The Circle. I personally have never seen this film, guys. So you tell me.
This is another film that he reprised his role more so now as a villain. This because he was indeed a villain, kind of like playing I'm a good guy, but I'm a villain. He plays like an evil corporate leader, wanting a demonstration to be had from one of his students, and when the student finds out what he is really planning, Tom Hanks tries to stop her. I'm not going to really give you any more details. Go watch the film. Again, I think it's just one of those films where it's not bad. It's not that good either. It's just there. But I think it was, again, this is the real role of Tom Hanks being like an evil guy. Just more like a scumbag kind of guy. An evil corporate douchebag.
Yeah.
It's just weird when you see someone who's lovable like Tom Hanks play.
And I have to say, I'm gonna fall short in some of these films we're mentioning now. Then he did, 2017's The Post, and another movie I found to be very boring.
Accurate but boring.
Accurate but boring. I mean, it's about basically investigative journalism, uncovering things. I mean,
the freedom for the press.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay, but like not as finest. I mean, I like it at all, but it just fell short to me, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know why. A lot of people thought, how can that movie be bad? You had Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, two of the greatest.
It gets a high rating, 7.2, but I think that's more
because of the star power.
Yeah, I think more because of star power.
It's Tom Hanks, baby.
Yeah. And that's actually going to wrap it up here with his last movie so far, which is Toy Story 4, in which he came back to play Woody, yeah.
Reprising his role.
I mean, I've seen Toy Story 4. I mean, I cannot find too much fault in this movie. I mean, he delivered gold again. I mean, it was Tom Hanks playing his most favoritist and best role in film animation.
And, it's really interesting, too, the legacy of Tom Hanks, and he's going to continue it on. Maybe not in acting, but definitely in producing. A lot of the movies he has lined up, he's actually producing himself, such as Greyhound, A Man Called Ov. It's interesting because Tom Hanks is never going to be away from, cinema.
No, he's not.
Yeah, I think...
I mean, a man who has such, impact on the world of movies is never really truly going to leave it either.
True. He's
produced 58 films.
Yeah.
A man like that can't leave film. It's just in him. You know what I mean? It's just it's in him to be a great actor. Some people are just they rise to the occasion. Like he was
7, including Larry Crown.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah. I mean, but again, you can't fault. He can't hit everything. Like he is one of the greatest actors of all time.
So out of all the things, so let's see. Here's part of the show where we break down and tell you what he has won and what he's achieved in the world of acting. How many awards has Tom Hanks won, guys?
He's won 50 awards.
Really?
He's won his 2 Oscars. He's won 2 Academy Awards.
Back to back.
Yeah, back to back.
Second actor to only do that.
8 Emmy Awards for Primetime, 4 Golden Globes, 2 Screenwriter Actor Awards, too. I mean, there's nothing this man hasn't
accomplished.
Won or accomplished. I mean, he's even in the Army Rangers Hall of Fame from his role in Saving Private Ryan.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, everyone, and that's going to be our Tom Hanks actor episode. We hope you guys have enjoyed it. Remember to listen, like, and subscribe. You guys can find us on Anchor FM, SoundCloud, YouTube, and RealSharks.wordpress.com. And hey, look for us to do the next poll for the next actor episode on Real Sharks. And so let me just say, we're going to get to running, and we're going to get going. Everybody have a great day.
Got that Nora Ephron white and that bomb. Hanks, I think I'm Tom Hanks. Big money motherfucker, boy, I'm Tom Hanks. I'm Tom Hanks and you're not Hanks.